Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Gemzies from CZT Beth Gaughan. All right, this is a neat one. They're all neat, right? And yeah, I was going to do my four corners and a border, and I'm deciding not to. Okay, this is a grid pattern. So for those that don't care for grid patterns, there's your warning. No, this one is nice. But then again, I do like me a nice grid pattern. It doesn't matter. Those are my favorites, I think. Yeah. All right, I'm going to divide this into... No, let's see if I do it in halves. Well, you can see. All right, let's do that. On my step out, I decided to do it in thirds, so that way, just to see it in a bigger grid. And then, like anything, when you do a tangle, you do it too small, then it's like, oh, I'm gonna be here forever. My hand is falling off. But you know what? It's still all good, because sometimes I like doing things really small because it has a neat effect. It just depends. But I think you'll get the point of this just as well. All right, this one starts off like floors. So a grid, and then actually let me do the center first. And then we're going to sort of round off. It's sort of rounding. We're going to clip off the corners. Let's call it that. We'll call it clipping. And I like to just look at each corner in and of itself, and then draw a line. In floors, you could do it this way, but you could also do it round, with rounding, so it's curved. Then we'll fill that in. This is why I was thinking, oh, maybe not to do it in a 4 square for the step out, because at least with this I can talk. So on the edges, because we're going to pretend these are partials, right? Like as if the grid extends out. You just do the parts. Actually, if you're looking at just a box, then we're not worried about anything else except for, oh, let's just clip off that corner. Let's clip off that corner. And that's probably, hindsight, what I should have done. Like that. Fill it in. This one, fill it in, and not worry about anything else. But for whatever reason, even with floors, I do those centers, and like that's where my focus goes instead of looking at each box. And I share that because if grids give you a headache, that might be something that helps. And it depends on what, if it's just that you don't like the structure, well, that's different. But I know some that it's almost like a visual issue with the grids, and that might help. Just focus in on, okay, what step am I doing, and keep your eyeballs just maybe like in the center of the box, so that way then you can see the corners, something like that. Maybe it's not neat that we all come to Zentangle with different issues, but it is neat at the same time, because we create amazing works of art, even those that have some kind of a challenge. And I'm interested just because I like to fix things, and I like to make sure that everybody has a good time and is able to do what you can do. And if there's a way I can explain it or have to help look at it, I'd like to know. So feel free to reach out. Either, it doesn't have to be in the comments. You can go to my website, the link's in the description, and you can connect with me there or on Facebook. And would love to have that conversation. All right. So we have this, and I'm looking at it going, wow, that looks really nice, Heather. So once you have all of those corners clipped, then we're going to aura the inside contour. So you can start wherever. I'm going to start with the corner, and so just decide how to what distance you want to attempt to keep that. I always say attempt because it's never perfect. And we're just auraing the insides. Remember, keep your hand, and if it doesn't meet, that's okay, right? Because you can just do like that. Keep the one hand steady, planted with the heel of your hand, and then, in whichever way you wish to turn your tile. I'm going to switch it back the other way because all of a sudden I was going the other direction. And I don't know why. Sometimes these things happen. And if you can keep your fingers a hold of the tile, you can, as I did on the first one, the challenge is because I was thinking about it and saying something about it. So then, it creates its own issue. Because when you think about something that you just do, sometimes it goofs it up. But yes, yeah, I'm using these fingers and this pinky to just kind of scoot the tile around, and you can kind of get a nice rhythm that way. Now, one reason that we do this is for the ease of your hand. Holding the pencil sometimes is enough, especially like I like to have this death grip. What have I got? Oh, I was playing with some coloring stuff. I've got stuff all over. Like, why is my nail all red? That's why. And a little purple, too. But anyway, sometimes it's hard enough if you have I'm holding the barrel with the death grip. I'm not pushing down anymore like I used to. It used to be, pushing down and holding tight. Now it's sometimes just holding tight. So every once in a while, take a little rest and just stretch your hand. And good to remind your hand, it's okay. The pen's not going to run anywhere. It's all good. All right. Now, inside each box that we just auraed, we're going to do another box. This one, just a regular old box or square, like that. Not cutting any corners or anything, just a square. And if your grid is a little misshapen, I would suggest just go with it. If it's like I have some that were a little bit more rectangle, and you decide. You could either make it square-ish or rectangle-ish, up to you. Or sometimes you have your grid is square and then you end up with a box that's rectangle. It's all good. So once you have those in all your boxes, then from each corner, so we're going to go from the corner of the box that we just did to the corners, and so we have two corners here, so we're going to make like a V, like that. So each corner. And what's nice about all of this is that it makes it forgiving. So if things are a little wonky, that's okay, because you're just going from corner to corner, corner to corner. And wherever that corner may be, it's all good. All right, and we're going to do that for all of them. And yeah, and then this is basically it besides shading. And so what's neat too is, I like the way that this looks. And if you've done any playing with trying to replicate gems, and I do have a video on my channel. It's called Gems Heather's Way. If you click on my picture or my name, that should take you to the channel, and then you can search right there. And because I have my own way of doing them, that was easy. I explain it on there. And then actually I have it was an hour, I think it was a little bit longer than an hour and a half, class. It's a paid class that I did with, our wonderful Rosemary, who she's our gem master. I think that's what we're calling her. Just amazing. And it can take it to a whole new level. And it's not as hard as you think it is. So if you're interested in that, connect with me and I can, we can make arrangements, and you can always purchase that replay. All right, this is it. So now shading. There's a couple things you could do. One, you could just color in some of the areas, which I think I might. Let's do that. I'll alternate them. Let's just do that, filling it in. So I'm just filling in. I don't do that a lot, but you can. And with the pencil, you don't have to fill it in all the way because the tortillon will just smooth it all out. And as long as you're careful, you can keep it all within the lines there. But I think I'm going to do something else. Sometimes when I do like a 4-square like this, I like to do like alternating things just because. But the thing with, if you're going to do a gem, why not make it shiny? And so I'm going to, let me just get this, gotta get that in there. There we go. All right, so here's, let me see if this works, and then I'll explain it. I'm going to go super dark. And I do this with other things. I'm pretty confident that it'll work. All right, which direction am I going? This direction, I guess. So I'm bringing in that graphite into the open section. And the reason I'm leaving that blank is because what I like to do is put the tip of the tortillon on the graphite and then pull down like towards me. Or, if it's circular motion, it's still kind of towards me. And not, I mean, I could do this and just change the whole angle, but that's a little awkward. So that's why a lot of times, sometimes I don't, just because sometimes I get lazy. Yes. We shall do that again. All right, so here we go. Dark. And I'm gonna dare tell you. You could do this with colors too. Actually, this is part of what I do on that. Although I haven't done it in this format, it's similar notion that I do on that video. And so we're just bringing it in. Now here's something too. You could, and I could bring this in a little bit more. You can just leave it like that. There's some motion. Now I have to do the other two. Because they can't just be left flat like that. Or can they? We could have an inverted gem. And you could do the center. Just because it's called Gemzies doesn't mean that it has to, it could be an innie instead of an outie. I'm not going to do that. I know, I'm just being silly at this point. All right, let's go back over this. The nice thing about graphite is that you can add more. And let's see, this one we went this way. Let's do, I think maybe I'll do, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do the top. I'll do the top two the same. And there are a whole bunch of other things that you can do with these as well. Okay, now we go the other way. And this, when you're leaving it, you leave a little bit of a natural tile color there, and it adds that shine in the center. Versus these, find the smooth edge on this pencil. Let's see, I went this way, so let's go the other way. And voila! Really cool. Really cool. that you enjoyed this. I certainly did. And I'm thinking also as I'm doing this here. Well, I don't know that it would be there, but it doesn't matter at the same time. Let's just put some little lines in, see how that looks. All right, so if you enjoyed this, and again, I hope you did, would love to have you click the like button, and while you're at it, if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. I mentioned the description section already, and if you're doing this, make sure you have something to wipe off your gel pen because it does not like getting clogged up with the graphite. All right. Again, yeah, in the description section, I mentioned that there are step outs there. I always do my own version and then have a link to the creator of the Tangle. And below that, ways to connect with me. Sometimes I can't tangle and talk at the same time. Ways to connect with me if you wish. I had mentioned there's a link to my website as well as a link to my Facebook page. So if you happen to be there, would love to have you follow me. On my website, you'll see the classes that I do. I have a number of them. I teach almost twice a week, and I do 2 sessions on each of those days. Most of them are free. I do have some that are paid. Like I mentioned, the gem class that we did not too long ago, that was a paid class. And because we like to, add more content. It's a little bit longer and a little bit more specific. But you can always purchase the replays, or if you've watched along with this, maybe you've come to a free class or so. I do have a membership club that's essentially all access, and information for that is on my website. Let's see. If you're on Facebook, we have a wonderful private Facebook page for my fellow Tangle addicts. It's a blast. It is so much fun. Wonderful, wonderful people. And it's like I said, if you'd like to hang out, share your work with a bunch of Tangle addicts, that's the place to be. So I hope you'll join us there as well. And with that, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.